might be heard.
In this painting, I was thinking in terms of combining candy.
I will if you make it first.
My name is Gary Gatos, manager of the Florissant Civic Center Theater.
Welcome to On Cue. My name's Sean Robertson, Assistant Theater Manager of the Florissant Civic Center Theater. Today joining me is one of the pillars of the arts community for North County, Larry Marsh. Welcome, Larry. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Sean.
Today we'd like to inform everyone about the upcoming show of the Hawthorne Players, Our Town, and which is by Thornton Wilder, and it's an American classic. And Larry, what would we like to know about Our Town?
Well, you know, I have a feeling a lot of people may know quite a bit about it anyway, because it truly is an American classic. It was first done in the 1930s, and then has been revived frequently since then, and it is in almost every American high school literature textbook. And I think there are reasons for that. It's certainly about small-town America. It is a quintessentially American play, and yet at the same time it is one of the most universal plays ever written. I mean, it speaks to mankind, personkind, I guess we should say, in general. And so while it's set, theoretically, it's set in New Hampshire, in a small town, Grover's New Hampshire,
yes.
1901. It transcends time and space, and it asks, and in some ways answers, some of the most important questions of mankind. And the bottom line is, of course, the idea of appreciating life and recognizing its transience, and seeing our place in the world and our place in the universe. So it's a very powerful play. It's funny at times. It's tragic and sad at other times, and it speaks about as well to the human condition as any play I know.
Well, you're the president of the Hawthorne Players. You are not the actual director of the upcoming show. Can you tell me a little bit?
Well, yeah, this is my honor to be a president of an organization that is now entering its 71st season. Hawthorne Players began in 1945 in Ferguson. And then when I did the math and I realized 70 seasons, and I realized my first show was 35 years ago, I'd been here for half of Hawthorne's life.
Oh my goodness.
That is very scary. Lori Renna is our director, and she's one of my very favorite directors. And
yeah, she's worked on many productions.
She's worked on many shows. Mornings at 7 would have been the last one that perhaps people remember, Little Women. And it is also a reminder that Hawthorne Players is community theater, and this is not something we are ashamed of. We're something proud of, and proud of being part of this community and of having been part of this community for a long time. As such, our actors and directors and performers, though many of them have professional theater credits and majored in musical theater or in theater in general or design, most of us have real jobs, and there are times where those real jobs got in the way.
Yes.
And in this particular case for Lori today, she just couldn't get away to come and speak to you.
Yes.
And ask if I would do it, and I'm very happy to do it because I think that this is going to be a wonderful show.
Well, I'm very glad that you came out, with us today, because you're also involved with many other organizations within the community. You're the director of the North Winds Concert Band,
right.
And we have many shows a year, together over at the Civic Center, and also some of the other shows that the Hawthornes might be doing this year. If you could tell us about some of those.
I'd be glad to. Yeah, because we just came off a terrific season. I hope that people saw that Full House for Nonsense, and shared in the laughter. So it was altogether just a very successful and actually prosperous for once, and allows us to continue to do this. And so we've come up with another season that I think is going to be great. We open with Our Town, which of course we can talk more about in detail. Our summer musical is Hairspray. It's a great show. It's a fun show. It does have message to it, but it just has lots of laugh.
Yeah,
great
very fun show.
Great dancing. It's going to be directed by Larry Quiggins. He is a professor of theater at Lindenwood.
Oh boy.
When I first saw him, he was on stage at the Florissant Civic Center Theater in 1980 as Billis in South Pacific, and I was in the pit directing. So we go way back.
Oh man.
Then we follow up in the fall, in November, with Driving Miss Daisy, which is just a terrific play. People remember the movie, of course.
Yes.
And it was a wonderful play, and it has just been recently revived on Broadway, and then again in an Australian touring company with James Earl Jones. So that was terrific as well. So it's going to be a wonderful season, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Back to Our Town, there's some unique things about this show. One of the things I find really interesting is that one of the characters is called the stage manager, and the stage manager is often not seen or heard of if the show is going well, and in this show he's an actual character that comes alive, and he sets the scene, and often falls into the scene himself as a character. And some of the other characters, there's a love story, in Our Town, with Emily and Emily Webb and George Gibbs, and and how that develops throughout the show. But one of the unique parts of this show is often the lack of scenery, and how and what it allows the audience, to take in, and how they can perceive the show themselves. Do you have anything that you'd like to?
Well, it is, of course, and by the way, I designed the so-called set for this when Hawthorne did the show in 1986.
1986.
So we're coming back, I guess, every 20 years. We'll do this. It's a bit of an issue for a director or for set designers, because set designers like to have a set.
Yes.
And in this particular case, trying to artfully not have a set is sometimes a trick. People still have to be able to sit at tables and chairs and so on. But Wilder's concept, and he spells it out very specifically in the script, is this sort of minimalist, we would say today, approach, and letting the audience create these things in their own minds, their own visions, and that it's, I think, trusting people to be able to see the world that he is creating in their minds. It asks more of us many times than the big, absolutely specific set designs with every prop spelled out and every detail. And while I love those, and I've created some sets like that myself, this is, in some ways, even more powerful. It's freeing for the actors in some ways, and at the same time puts much greater stress on them, because they have to create this world only with their voices, because there are no props. It's pantomimed, and that makes it more difficult, and more challenging. And of course, the thing is, when we had auditions, people came from miles around, even though I figured out that about a third of the actors are from Florissant.
Oh, that's good.
That's great news.
Yes.
But David Gibbs is the stage manager you mentioned, and David is just one of the very finest actors around.
That's what I've been hearing. I haven't had the pleasure to work with him.
He's terrific, just absolutely terrific, and I've worked with him in several shows, and I think he'd be worth coming to see, even if it were not for the rest of the cast. And the rest of the cast, we have a deep bench, as they say. A lot of actors that people will recognize. Interestingly enough, you mentioned one of the families in the show is named Gibbs, and of course here is our stage manager, who is named Gibbs himself.
I hope that might have been a coincidence.
I tell you what, this is a show. He's never done the show.
He's never done the show,
which is amazing, because he's done shows all over town, and it's one of those that sometimes actors wait for until they feel like it's time, and the right company shows up.
It is a great role, and it's I've seen the show done in many different, facets, and I'm always fascinated by that role in itself.
You know what's, again, it speaks, I think, to the strength of this. This is a show that's often done in high school. I've taught at McClure North for many years, and saw production there, directed by my good friend Doug Lane, and it was he
another
high
member
school
of the
kids,
Hawthorne
another
Players.
member of Hawthorne, certainly, house manager that people see at all
Yes.
of our shows. I was deeply moved by these high school students doing this show. It brings out the best in actors.
It really does. I also worked on it in high school. Actually, it was one of the shows we did in my senior year in high school, and it was very. It's hard to work on that show as being, a part of it, because the material is so strong. You come away you walk away from rehearsal and the performances each night. Just, it's heavy. It's very heavy.
Yeah. We should, though, point out that this is not a show which play that lectures you. It asks questions and lets you fill in some answers for yourself and make you think about the questions. So, and there's a good deal of humor in it as well.
Yes.
So, I think people will love it. I have no doubt. If they haven't seen it in a long time, and it's, again, as I said, 20 years since we did it at Hawthorne, I saw it at the Rep, and that was a very fine production, but will be great.
We also have same crew members as usual, working on some of the Hawthorne shows. There's a team of guys that you can often find working in the sound and light booth there that have almost become a staple, for all the shows now, and I always look forward to working with those gentlemen. Brian Borgstead and Bob Veach are once again involved, working in the booth, and costuming by Tracy Newcomb, and who else is
the
a member?
master carpenter? You wouldn't want to forget the master carpenter.
And that would probably be Dennis Dudenhofer.
It sure would be. And you and
another
I have worked
staple
with him.
of
Well, I think it's important maybe for people to understand how productions in the Florissant Civic Center Theater are a sort of a family affair. We've worked with many of you for years and years and years, and you've worked with us. Yes. And it's an issue of trust as well.
Very much so.
And respect, and I always feel that.
Moving on from our town, we've talked about the rest of the Hawthorne season. We also you have the Northwinds Concert Band, which you are the director of, and we have a show on May 7th, I believe, and that helps to promote the Ducky DeMere scholarship, or it helps fund the Ducky DeMere scholarship. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, and more specifically, I think probably what we should say is that it's at the Northwinds Band concert this year where we announce the winners. So that's the important part of this. In 1992, we decided to create a scholarship program for high school students in the performing arts, and we named it after Ducky DeMere. And Ducky DeMere, who was a Florissant resident and was she was a terrific actress and director and a real powerhouse. I'm just very happy we keep her memory alive. And so the scholarship program that began in 1992 is still flourishing, and we have given over $50,000 to local North County students involved in the performing arts.
How did you choose the students?
The students apply, and let me say that too, because this would be a time if people are listening who might have students, children, grandchildren who are in the performing arts in their high schools. The application is online. You can find it at www.hawthorneplayers.com. That's Hawthorne with an E. And there you'd find all the information about the scholarships. The applications are due by April the 1st. Okay. And so students send in a resume of what they've done, what the shows that they've worked on, and also write an essay about the importance of arts in community life. And so the Hawthorne board then screens those, and it's wonderful. I mean, actually, that's one of the nicest things we do is at a board meeting where we have read through all of those, and we come and talk about these students.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, I just hope that people do take advantage of this Civic Center Theater, which is one of the finest municipal theaters in the state. and every actor who comes on that stage and every musician who plays in the pit, they're just amazed at what we have here right in our own community. And it's something that we need to cherish, and it's something that we need to still support. And it's important, if you live in the community, that if you haven't been here, it's more than a gymnasium in the Civic Center. And
yes, it is.
It's a great place and a great swimming pool. But right next to that is this incredible theater where you can see live actors doing live theater. And there's something very special about that.
Yes, it's not the movies.
No,
it is not.
It's not a virtual world, it is a real world.
Well, one last thing, we should tell the audience when Our Town is actually opening.
I guess that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? The show's in April. We have performances on Friday and Saturday night for 2 weekends. That would be the 8th and 9th and 15th and 16th. It's important to note that our starting time this year is 7:30. It's been 8 o'clock for as long, certainly as I remember. We moved to 7:30. I think people enjoy that more, and we have other theater companies that are doing exactly the same thing. I think Alpha has moved to 7:30 starting times in some shows. The Rep has also put their shows back an hour earlier, and so we'll be doing that. Then we do have a Sunday matinee, which is always very, very popular, and that'll be on then April the 17th at 2 p.m.
Well, once again, thank you for coming out, and we'll be right back with more On Cue. Welcome back to On Cue and the calendar segment of our show. The Florissant Fine Arts Council presents the U.S. Army Field Band and Soldiers Chorus, the musical ambassadors of the Army from Washington, D.C. Tickets are on sale currently for their date on March 25th at 8 p.m. and they are going fast because they are free. Beginning in April, the Florissant Fine Arts Council presents the Kishore Marionettes from Pennsylvania, April 24th at 2 o'clock p.m. A stunning work of art and performance, Joseph Kishore, an award-winning visual artist and puppeteer, has been designing and performing his unique art for over 30 years. A performance by the Kishore Marionettes is a celebration of life. The program consists of a collection of engaging pieces encompassing a broad range of themes, each delivered with the simplicity that expresses the essence of the moment. Admission is $28 for adults and $26 for seniors or students. Also in April, the Hawthorne Players present Our Town, April 8th, 9th, and April 15th and 16th at 7:30 p.m., and April 17th, a 2 p.m. matinee. This American classic depicts the everyday life of two families in a small New England town in the early years of the 20th century. A narrating stage manager guides the audience through the romance that develops between Emily Webb and George Gibbs, from their school days through their marriage. Living then as now reflects many quietly meaningful moments, as well as hardships and sorrows, all leading to a profound awareness and appreciation of the beauty of life. Admission is $18 for adults and $16 for seniors and students. May 7th, the North Winds Concert Band will be joining us again at 7:30 p.m. during the Saturday night of the Valley of Flowers weekend. Also in May, the Alpha Players present Dearly Departed, May 20th, 21st, May 27th and 28th at 7:30 p.m., and a 2 p.m. matinee on May 29th. In the Baptist backwoods of the Bible Belt, the beleaguered Turpin family proves that living and dying in the South are seldom tidy and always hilarious. Despite their earnest efforts to pull themselves together for their father's funeral, the Turpins' other problems keep overshadowing a solemn occasion. What will Raynell put on the tombstone? Will Junior pull over to the side of the road and shoot his wife? Or will she have the last laugh? Why isn't Bud's corpse wearing shoes? Will Marguerite get her useless son to church? And what's fried chicken got to do with all of this? You've just got to join the family to find out. Admission is $18 for adults, $16 for seniors or students, $10 for children 12 and under, and group rates are available. Information and reservations by calling 314-921-5678 or visit us online at www.florissantmo.com. One final thing, the Florissant Civic Center Theater is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The box office will close each day from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. for lunch, or by mail addressed to FCC Theater at 1 James J. Egan Drive, Florissant, Missouri, 63033. Individual tickets go on sale 45 days prior to the opening of any production, so please give us a call and order your tickets. And thank you for joining me on Cue.